Well, there's also the case of Antonio Smith. He's been
the
out the entire offseason. They asked him to, kind of step away, take care of his personal business with a case in Texas. But he hasn't been charged. So he could appear at camp when
is the
veterans
investigation
are deployed.
over?
No, there has been no update on the investigation, but he hasn't been charged.
I've checked into it, and there's been no movement.
Right.
I find it funny that a state that likes to execute people on a regular weekly basis can't figure out an investigation over several months. That's my honest reaction to it. But Antonio Smith can't be held out of camp. I mean, they could say to him, stay away some more, but he now starts getting paid, and the Players Association would jump in
They would have
and
to get
say,
involved. If they could recommend that he continue to stay away until this is resolved, but they can't force his hand. If he wants to come, they can't penalize him or fine him for, missing time if they tell him to stay away. And if he wants to appear and they don't want him there, he could always get the association involved, and then that could turn ugly.
And he needs to get repetitions. He didn't participate in the offseason. That if I'm him, and I'm going to take the other side. If I'm him and I'm not guilty of this,
right.
I want to play in the National Football League. I want to get my money. I want to get an even bigger contract. You're not going to keep me out. I haven't been charged with anything, and I would think the Broncos would have to go along with that. And I think, tell me if you think this is true, that John Elway would have to come out and have an explanation and say why they're doing it, because there are going to be a lot of people upset.
Oh, sure. I mean, especially if he hasn't been charged with anything, what is their reasoning for holding him out, other than the fact that this investigation is ongoing. But
public reaction.
Well,
we're not talking about theft. We're talking about
there's serious allegations, but
there is one other guy. I mean, you mentioned Vance Walker, and you mentioned Antonio Smith. They like Marvin Austin too. He's in that rotation.
They do. He's more of a nose tackle than defensive.
Well, he's still going to be in that rotation.
Yeah.
But he's played end.
Yeah.
He played end primarily for them up until this year, where you see him on the depth chart behind Sylvester Williams. So he could be in that rotation as well.
Do you see that happening?
No,
I don't either.
not
I see
really.
them
I think it's
okay. Well,
two alternating. There's a kid that was on the practice squad that's been around for a couple of years. He's got a long name, so I'm going to fail on this. But there's a guy that's been kind of with him for a while. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, forgive me.
He was slated to be number 3 behind Wolf, Walker, and then him on the left side.
They still like him?
Yeah. I mean, I think, as a practice player, and you have Wolf slotted in at the number 1, and then a guy you just signed to a 2-year deal, I'm not sure, that, much consideration was given to him starting at some point or getting a lot of reps, but they have to now.
How about this Darius Kilgo?
I think he has a lot of promise, but I think going into camp, they had kind of slated him in as a backup at nose. So.
Another one I brought up, another nose tackle.
Should I just shut up about
this?
What's with you and the nose tackles?
He wants to play nose tackles. He wants 3 nose tackles because he's losing sleep at night because he's concerned.
The next life, you want to be a
350-pound
nose tackle.
He's concerned about
Terrence is gone. I want some bulk up front.
Yeah, address this. He's concerned that the Broncos had a really good run-stopping team last year, and he's so concerned he can't sleep at night. He wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Sleeps like a baby. He wakes up every 2 hours and cries.
This is sad.
Help him out in regard to the run-stopping ability when they're switching from 3-4. So all the responsibilities basically change in a 3-4.
Well, I think that's still going to be a priority, but they are emphasizing the pass rush more because that kind of fell off. You have 3 elite pass rushers. I mean, teams are lucky to have 1. You got 3 now, so that'll be.
And Blake is 1 too. He's a great pass rusher. He was number 2, if I remember, in sacks last year, wasn't he? Or tackles, one of the 2.
He graded out as the 3rd best defensive player on the Broncos by Pro Football Focus. Overall.
3rd best overall, not just defensive line.
Right. That's when I heard it, and it's 4 games.
Yeah.
Looking at schedule, I would think with him or without him, they're going to win 3.
Right.
I think they can win 3 without him.
Right.
They were going to win 3. I think there's one tough game. I don't have the schedule in front of me, but I don't think his loss is going to make a difference. I mean, it's a quarter of a season, but that would be my belief.
Harmony Foundation, Colorado's premier treatment program for drug and alcohol. How come we always have
This
these
just
stories?
seems like a really poorly
and then
timed.
we have the drug and alcohol thing with the Harmony
Well, why don't
Foundation.
you
It's
put it in
unbelievable, the
Pick
timing.
6 or something where we never talk about drugs?
Yeah. Our producer just said in my ear, "That's good producing." Harmony Foundation. It's located just outside of Estes Park on a private 45-acre mountain campus. They are insurance friendly at Harmony. So if you feel the need, visit harmonyfoundationinc.com.
And keep in mind that later on, we'll be talking about players that are overweight, and you'll be bringing out a pizza.
We can only hope.